Daniel is a poet as well, and he did some recitals at the summit of the International Women's Day, organized by the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection.
Yeah.
Daniel, yes, you were starting with the first stanza,
Yeah.
or the intro, you said.
Excuse me. Yes, please. So the intro is this. I said that throughout the ages, the socio-political garment of our world has been tailored to fit more men than women. However, society has witnessed the rise of extraordinary women. Society will, however, struggle to grapple with the concept of women in leadership until women in every place, on every stage, rise to prove their mettle. So today, as we approach the equinox, a season of equality, equal days and equal nights, we hear the sound of squeaks and knocks at the gates of our minds. For the hands of the future are ripping apart the curtains of time.
Wow.
Curtains that separate now moments from moments beyond now. Now new beginnings are taking a peek through the window of our minds. Happily, they might find a place to gain flesh in the midst of our time. The foundations of time and space are experiencing another shift, for the ancient rift that occurred in the fabric of human existence is being sutured by deeds of great women and men, past, present, and future. Introduction.
Wow. You seriously always blow me away. And I don't even know how to pretend. Seriously.
Yeah. So I was saying that.
What was the response from the women?
Gosh, the place was ablaze. It was on fire. I mean,
Because there's poetry, and we hear poetry, and we
Yeah.
hear poetry.
Yes.
But poetry that has such imagery that you still identify with
yeah.
is something else.
Yes, yes. I did 2 poems actually. The second one was a love poem to women. It was also awesome. But the message, about the introduction was that I realized that one of the key points about it is that, these, in the story, in the history of, I call it the history of law, which is in the Bible, in the time of Moses,
Okay.
the law was that women, if a man gives birth to only daughters and he dies, the daughters cannot inherit from the man. That's a legal code of inheritance. Now, 5 daughters, their father passed away. This is the rule. You can't inherit. But they decided to break the norm. Now, for me, what is so intriguing about this is this. Over 3,000 years after such an event, we are still fighting for the rights of women. We are still looking at property rights and all that globally.
Yeah.
But these women, and we are even championing democracy and all that, but they were not under a democracy. They were under a theocracy where the law, where the voice of Moses, the messenger of God, was final. How could they, one, decide to pick up a concept that we'll be fighting for 3,000 years in time? They were able to pick it up, and they were bold enough, wise enough to know how to present it.
That's a very interesting one. Does it mean God? Where did the law come from, first of all?
You see, the issue is that in about 1,000 or so years' time, when Jesus comes, then we will know that the law of Moses was actually a shadow. So God actually put loopholes in the law because the people were not ready for the original. But then the issue is that in a generation that is not ready for the original, still, I call it the hands of the future, try to rip apart the curtains of time. The curtains that separate them now moments from moments beyond now. They are trying to see if there are any minds fertile enough so that they can engage those minds, so these moments beyond now can gain flesh in a time that is not theirs. So these 5 daughters accessed these ideas that we will be fighting for 3,000 years after, in a moment that they were in a generation that was not ready for such a legal code. They were able to access it and fight for it. And because they did that, the law of inheritance was changed. When Moses went to consult God, God said the daughters are right. So you see, I realized that in every generation, though there's a status quo, there are also realities existing beyond now,
Yeah.
waiting to gain flesh in the midst of our time. It takes people who are daring enough, women, of course, and men, who are daring enough to access these realities and to pull them into our time.
So it's more of the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath kind of scenario.
So you realize that it will, when over 1,000 years when Jesus comes, then we realize that so some of the things, in fact, he even said that Moses gave you these laws out of the hardness of your heart.
Yeah.
So that means that that was not actually God's plan. So it's the same thing. It's like you are seeing something go on, but it's a faulty covenant. It's a faulty lifestyle. So we are building theories based on a faulty lifestyle. I think that it's time for us to go back to the original intention and demand these realities. It is not going to be
So what
easy.
is the original intention for the woman?
Hey.
It's International Women's Day. So what is the original intention? For the woman? Can you answer that? I don't want us to get into theology or anything.
Oh no
like that.
no I don't. I'm actually not a theologian. I'm a poet.
Okay.
For me, first of all, we're talking to people who are not just Christians, Muslims, and all that.
Yeah.
And so, in speaking even on this dimension, I would say that if you believe in a creator who created, think when the creator wanted to create mankind, was it his mind that women should be below men? So just imagine God or a creator, whoever you believe in, sitting, is I want to create a race on earth. Then, okay, I want to create a race. Okay, this part of this race will be below this one. Do you think that was his intention? And don't think about the creator in the context of religious stereotypes, cultural stereotypes, because there was nothing like culture before existence came into being. So look at an infallible creator who is not limited by the limitations of mankind, the smallness of human mind, but is unlimited. In fact, the universe cannot even contain him. Look at such a creator. Then he decides to create beings that will represent him on earth.
Wow. Okay.
Then answer for yourself. I have my own opinions, but I'll hold it for now.
Because it brings up a lot of questions. I'm not sure if I can ask them on this platform, but you see it raises questions of, when God says that ye are gods. You know where I'm going.
Psalm 82.